DigitalOcean. Okay, okay. Where would you push yours?
I'm looking on Vercel.
Vercel. Okay. So we got Vercel, DigitalOcean. Okay. What? Who else?
Webflow.
You where?
Webflow.
Webflow.
Yeah.
Webflow. Never heard of it.
Shopify. E-commerce.
Shopify. Okay. Constantine, where would you throw a website?
Online.net.
Where?
Online.net.
Oh, online.net. Okay. Wow, that's a domain name. Okay, so there's a ton of places to put HTML page. There's a ton of places that we all love. As a developer, we have our favorites. We go to our favorites. Everybody here uses different stuff. The thing is kind of not trying to get into much of like the Web3 stuff here. There are Web2 or centralized providers. One of my favorites, just to push websites, would be Amazon Web Services. The definition of it being centralized is almost a gray area because it's also like sharded in 100 million data centers because that's what Amazon does. So like the definition of decentralized Web 2, Web 3, it's really becoming like a super gray area. And so not to like say we should be putting stuff on AWS or anything. When we're using IPFS, there are amazing quality. IPFS is the interplanetary file system. It is what enables Filecoin. So going back, like Filecoin, does anybody? Everybody knows, I guess. We've got an intro of what Filecoin is. So IPFS is this layer that enables that. When you use the interplanetary file system to send data around, a lot of problems that we get with Web 2 disappear. Like we created Web 2 in the 90s, in the early 2000s. We haven't really pushed models to help us with that. So pushing to like newer, better ways to do the internet, you would think would be like a norm. But, so that's what I guess IPFS's goal is here. Here's a bunch of memes. A lot of them are IPFS related. Sorry to like, basically like, if you use Web 2 to push your website, a lot of problems, like if a government says, I don't want people to look at that website, the government can take that website down. Whereas a lot of people in the Web3 ecosystem will push their websites to IPFS and they won't be able to go down. A government can't say, you know, I don't want you to look at that. Kind of like torrenting, you know. Torrenting is an open system, you can't really turn it off. So IPFS uses the same thing. So that gives you an intro as to the why, okay? Like, why would we even want to do this? And so, so yeah, like, to start it out, I chose 3 providers. I'll be like showing, demoing today. First one will be Fleek, second one will be Lighthouse.storage, and the third one is going to be Filebase. Each one of these is a company in the IPFS Filecoin ecosystem. Some of them are bigger than others. And so yeah, so like we can just, okay, so what am I doing here? I've got this website here. It's just a public package. Everybody has probably seen like these little index.html pages. So this is our Filecoin Orbit Austin website. And so if you go up here and you go to Orbit Austin Orbit.io, this is our website. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have seen this. So I've got this website packed into a public folder, very simple. And so we're hosting the website on, I don't know where we're hosting it, I think Lighthouse.storage or something, or Fleek or something. And so what I'm going to do is just show you guys how I pick this folder up and I'll put it in these different providers and you can host a website just like I do, just like everybody else does. So yeah, so here I've got this public folder. Now this is an HTML website, so it's very simple. It's not like a React, it's not like I have a build folder. It's very simple. So I'll just go here, and I've already done this, but this is what you guys would do. Go to Fleek, and you know, create an account with them. So you're gonna have to do the Google, like log in with your email, whatever. So I've already done that, boom. So I'm into Fleek. Okay, deploy your site. So I've already done this just to make sure it worked. So I will go here, add new, deploy my site. So a lot of these different providers, they have different ways to do it. This one says it likes GitHub, and I use GitHub often. And so I will go here and put in the repo for the website. Easy. Orbit website right here. Cool. Oh wow, it says it's already in use. Okay, let's see if I can. Maybe I can go delete it. Yeah. There's settings.
You got two like at the end.
Hmm?
You got two at the end.
No, it's a virtual GitHub.
Yeah. I would have to fork the repo real quick, but it's easier for me just to do this. All right, add site. Okay, cool. It says add your GitHub. Great. So, oh, that's wrong. Go here, Orbit website, deploy. So my file system is all screwed up, and so I've got the public folder within the parent folder, which is kind of annoying. So I just have to say that here, publish directory, public.
And if you do have an app, you can build it.
Correct. Yeah. Most of these apps will like React more than they will like vanilla HTML. So, food for thought. Deploy site. So, and then it'll do its basically their server is going to go ask my repo for a bunch of stuff, download it, and then it'll build it real quick, and then the cool thing about this is you have public links with SSL certificates. And so you don't have to worry about authentication any more than throwing it here, just like Vercel, right? I mean, just like everything else. And so the cool thing is if I deploy my website on Vercel or AWS, if a government or if the weather took out parts of the internet, and so internet was basically like hurting, then IPFS will enable better flow. If a government tried to strike it, that doesn't happen. And so this is like the whole utility about putting our stuff on IPFS. There's a lot of
content address, right?
Content addressing. There's a million things. So yeah, content addressing is probably the big one.
And IPNS, right, is the main thing that makes that work.
Content addressing.
Like IPNS.
Oh yeah, IPNS. If you wanted it to work if a domain was striked or something. Right.
Like you could host it with Fleet or Web3.storage or whatever, but as long as the IPNS is set up to because when you upload to all those different ones, as long as the file is the same, it's going to give you the same CID, right? So if you have your IPNS set up, they could pull it from Fleek or from Web3.storage or wherever. It doesn't really matter, right?
Exactly, right. What he's talking about is, right now, if I were to push a website onto Amazon, AWS, it would say, Logan's website is in this location, so it's location-based addressing. That's what all of our internet is built around. And IPFS does content-based addressing. So it's not location-based, it's content-based. And so as long as the content is available, you can propagate to it. Cool. Okay, so while that one loads and while everything propagates into their servers, here we go. Oh, it says it's ready. So here I've got this, what is this, hyperlink URL. I've got this URL, and boom, sparse Morn. So then you just push, you set that in your DNS record. You say if somebody goes to austinorbit.io, send them to this address. Boom. So that's Fleek. I mean, that's
also add a domain in the file.
Oh, Alex brings up.
So could you put view on IPFS just so they can see the hash?
Yeah, view on IPFS, good point. So view on IPFS. So this right here is going to be that's your content addressing right there. This is actually that's actually a newer version of a CID, content identifier.
That's coming from the gateway, right? Is that the web gateway, I guess?
Yep, D-Web, yep.
So if you change the web page, like, is it going to also change or is it going to stay the same?
This one, because it is tied with my GitHub right here, it'll do automatic pushes. Yes, which is a benefit. You know, it's almost easier to set it up using this than it is to set up on a normal provider with Git updates. But cool. Okay, let's do it on Firebase real quick. Okay. Or let's not do it on Firebase because I did it earlier and it doesn't seem as if it likes it. Interesting. Okay. Lighthouse.storage then. So Fleet is a really large company in the IPFS Filecoin ecosystem. They've been here quite a while, right, Alex? Fleet has been here quite a while. Lighthouse.storage has been here for at least 2-3 years. They're amazing. Firebase has also been here quite a while. Although I pushed these files over into this, and it seems as if it may not like it. This is good. So yeah, Lighthouse.storage is the same flow. You just go here, upload your public folder, or upload folder. Cool. So this will do the upload. Upload success, great. Wow, that was a fast gate. That was a fast gateway request. So yeah, like all of these are using IPFS gateways. This is that's a service. An IPFS gateway is an IPFS node that is attached to the internet. So if you're an outsider, like I'm not running an IPFS node on my cell phone. IPFS nodes are rather heavy. And so an IPFS gateway is just a server that my phone will talk to, and then that server will then fulfill the request to IPFS. That's called an IPFS gateway. There's a lot of them in the ecosystem. So yeah, so basically, if I were to set up an IPFS website without using Fleet or Lighthouse.storage here, basically that would mean that I would need to set up my own IPFS gateway. I would also need to set up a server to host the website. So basically, two massive, huge steps. The IPFS gateway being the biggest one. Maintaining an NGINX server, processing people's requests is a rather daunting load. And so, please, if you are working with IPFS, use the gateway providers if you can. If you need to make your own gateway, talk to them and say like, what are the do's and don'ts of making a gateway. There's a lot of people in this room who work with gateways. Dante's being one of them. Alex, even you. I mean, everybody works with NGINX servers, I guess, nowadays. So yeah, like anybody please, I haven't gotten any questions yet. Anybody have any questions so far at all?
Can you just explain IPFS CID in more depth? Just like why is it so? Like why create a CID for each file?
Right.
Like what does it do?
Okay. So just like every commit that we have on GitHub, it has a commit hash. So without a doubt, if you're building software and everything, you have a million things moving, without a doubt you can say, okay, I have 100% granularity that this is what I need because of this long hash tells me. So IPFS uses hashes to content identifiers to distinguish data as well. There's no, I mean, obviously it creates a lot of issues because reading this in plain text is not the easiest thing to do. And so that pushes this other system called IPNS, the Interplanetary Naming System, to associate names with these CIDs, but essentially it's a way to it's a way to distinguish content. This is a way to check content beforehand. So if somebody says, I want to go to this website, you can basically be sure, everybody's 100% sure of the website's validity because of the content hash. And so if you go to a website and the content hash is different than, say, the developers who are pushing the project, then if the developers are saying like, hey, you need to check your wallet to make sure this hash is the same, creates a lot of, everybody's on the same page. And so, yeah, I guess we could just really quick, like, what is an IPFS CID, and see what IPFS tells us. It's a label used to point to materials in the interplanetary file system.
Yeah, how they're creating it is kind of interesting. In terms of, it's basically encrypting it, right? So you're reading the binary and encrypting it, and you get that hash. But it's actually, it's taking the binaries and it's chunking it, right? So if you have a really big file, it's going through the binary file, and you can set like a chunk size. It'll take that chunk of bytes, encrypt it, and you get a hash. It'll take the next chunk, encrypt that, and you get that hash. And it'll keep going down the line, and then you will chunk the chunks
Into a multi-hash.
and then you'll hash those, and you get a multi-hash until you get to the top, where you get this one, what we call the CID, which is actually just a pointer to all these other hashes, where at the very bottom layer is all the binary. So in theory, if you had the keys, you could interpolate from the CID, you could interpolate the binary out of that, potentially.
So are the chunk sizes all predefined, or are they
You can define them yourself.
Okay.
A lot of the kind of general libraries will use this as a default, but yeah, depending on what other people are using, it can be different. So it's not something you can just guess necessarily.
So yeah, they're a little cumbersome to work with, I think, at scale. Everybody's kind of like figured that out. CIDs are very important, and so getting them into an actual production environment can be rather, it can be rather cumbersome. There's a lot of tools to help us do that. Just working with an open data system in general can be difficult, and so with the advent of all these new technologies, pushing it into a production corporate environment is going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of your guys' all of our help to really like push that. So like IPFS is very good right now for everyday people who want to back up and store data to an open public data set. IPFS is really good. Pushing it and making it more useful for corporation environments, people who like, I want to use it in my business to control data better. That is an important, crucial task that we need a lot of help with, hence why I'm showing you all today. So yeah, it's the more you start building websites on IPFS, the more like weird things will occur, and so I feel like it's good for everybody to start doing it as soon as possible. Just really like to end out just a quick example of weird stuff on IPFS. Normally, when you're building a website, this is href. This is just a pointer to. These are just pointers to. Oh man, this is my wrong. Okay, so like right here, we're being pointed to images, and so this is pointing to a file location. When you're building on IPFS, you don't really get to do that. You have to point to the actual gateway link, and so that can be rather difficult. So yeah, I wanted to like show you like If you're addressing with normal websites, you're addressing with location, you're addressing with IPFS, you're gonna have gateway links in here. And so, try it out, enjoy it.
You can't do relative top, is what you're doing there?
You can, but your service provider has to support them. So when they hit their server, they have to create those dynamic links on their NGINX server. And so like right here, we just pushed Filecoin Orbit to this. So if I click, this is on lighthouse.storage. So if I click this, we're getting some issues because that addressing is, this is looking for normal Web 2 just HTML addressing, and Alex and I have put IPFS addressing in here. So this is like an IPFS link, and so it's like it doesn't really like it. So
if you try to go to slash.
right, and I think that's because the file has IPFS CIDs in there. So the file that it's pushing to. So it's like it's trying to go to a file.
How's the fleet system look?
I think it's the same. So this one.
Yeah, well, it's because this is static.
Because they can use, it's a CID style link.
Right. So yeah. If there's any questions, I feel like we will just have an open room and chat and enjoy. Dante, you want to say anything before we?
I mean, everybody are any topics that they want to talk about.
Good question. So I wanted to even do for next month. I want to have an open floor, and there's a lot of things that everybody knows in this room that I want to bring out to me. And so I'm going to be asking everybody for topics and stuff, and I want the normal comers especially to maybe be a little open, to maybe coming up here. I just brought my ring. Why don't you put it? I really want you guys to come up here to talk to, and so, especially you. And so, yeah, open floor. Thank you, everyone.
Any interesting topics or use cases you guys like thinking about working on right now?
We were talking about healthcare data a little bit on the other room.
Yeah, that was me. So I work in healthcare data. There's no voting regulation when it comes to healthcare data, right? So there's no like, I'm going to dip out and have the government not pay attention to me if you say you're healthcare. The government's eyes are automatically on you. So that's not a thing. So hiding from them has no point. I think in the long run, blockchain does have a, albeit government regulated, potential in having an like unique identifier for each patient. Like there is an argument to be made that each person should, within the net healthcare system, not just of the US but of the world, have a unique ID with which you can see all that person's diseases. But there's no way around that the healthcare, that the government's going to be involved in that, especially when you talk about other countries. So hiding from the government's not a point, but having a unique identifier, that might be a point. Like it might be very powerful.
We already kind of all do have like unique identifiers.
They're not in healthcare.
Especially in Europe, well, we all have social security numbers in this country. In other countries, they actually have, in almost every other country.
Right,
they
but
have a healthcare
the
system.
problem is the borders in Europe are much more pliable than people think. And especially when we talk about tax rates in Europe, so people will constantly work in different places in Europe to avoid tax rates. And people don't realize that taxes in Europe are not tied to your citizenship like they are here.
Yeah.
They're tied to the country you're working in. It's very common for Europeans, especially wealthier, high-income Europeans, to flip from country to country.
Well,
So-
it's kind of like the US with the States, right? Like,
No.
Texas.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So it's a weird. It's weird because the U.S. federal government is a little bit like the EU, but it's also a little bit like the government of a particular country. So it's just not a one-to-one. America's just different. So yeah, you're right. There's some parallels.
Taxes to the US.
Yeah, you're right. There's some parallels, but the parallels are not a one-to-one. Right? So.
Well, I mean, like everyone's moving like to Florida, Texas.
Yeah. In that sense, it's the same. But the government of, say, France or Germany has much more power and much more say than the government of Florida. right? Because at the end of the day, if you flee from California to Florida, right, when California sues Florida over, well, you can't just leave and take your income with you, they're probably going to lose. They're probably going to lose that battle, but in Europe,
they would take like 16 years. There was some guy, his name is Hyatt, and he moved from California. He's an inventor. He moved from California to Nevada, and it took him like 20 years to win his case. I think he won it.
but in Europe,
it took him 20 years.
he loses that. That's the difference. In Europe, he would probably lose, right? That's the difference because in the United States, the federal government has final say, and you can feel however you feel about the United States government, but there's not many more business-friendly governments than the United States government. So the United States government's going to say, you flee from Florida to your California, you know what? You pay the Florida taxes, and California can say nothing. In Europe, that relationship is reversed. So France will say, well, you paid that in France, and they'll win that battle. Whereas in the United States, they'll lose that battle. So that's kind of the difference. It's not exactly a one-to-one. Yeah. So it's a little bit tricky because the U.S. federal government is somewhere in between the government of France and the government of EU, because the United States is much more integrated than Europe is. Like there are cultural differences from California to Texas, but they don't compare to the cultural differences between like Italy and Germany. So we're different. Like we're different. We are in many ways, we are the Enlightenment children in a way that Europe is not. They still are beholden to their feudal structures in a way that we as Americans are not. So it's not a one-to-one. But what was my original point? Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about. So you're not going to escape the government. The government is not going to not have visibility of healthcare data. And to be fair, they're not entirely wrong to do so. So if you're trying to escape all visibility, that's not going to work. But there is a case to be made that in a single identifier that a limited number of people can see, and you get to say on who has access to it, has validity in healthcare. And that's where blockchain kind of comes in.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of protocols that kind of apply that mentality, not even to healthcare, but for example to like social media. So you'll see like a protocol where like you as a user can take your identity and all your data with you from these different
and
apps.
healthcare, that has very specific debate in healthcare about to what degree does the patient have say and to what degree does the doctor have say, because the doctor knows stuff that the patient doesn't. But also the doctor can be arrogant and feedback on stuff the patient does. So there's a tension to be resolved there. But at the end of the day, it's there is value in carrying your health care from system to system.
Privacy is also a huge problem, right?
Yes.
That's a big question.
But that's, again, the privacy is a controversial issue depending on the relationship, because people say stupid shit, right? Healthcare is a very technically complicated area, and people will, out of ignorance, say stupid things they shouldn't say, believe stupid shit they shouldn't do. So the doctor should have some voice, even if the person doesn't necessarily trust the doctor, because the doctor has expertise in an area that the person can't. And that's kind of a tension that needs to be resolved in healthcare. It's complicated to say the patient should have final say, because biology is a complicated subject.
Yeah.
And the patient may not be aware.
Yeah, most patients, I mean, if you've ever gone to the doctor, you're like, I have this wrong with me. And they're like, no, you're okay, just go home and keep an eye on it. It's like,
But
you're all good,
sometimes the doctor can be lazy and decry the evidence in their own
But
ways.
see,
So there's
if
a complicated
If that happens, you just go
relationship
find a
there.
different doctor. And you're
Yeah.
like,
But
and-
sometimes there are people who will go to 20 different doctors looking for a specific diagnosis. And at that point, the first 10, but I know somebody like this, the first 10 doctors, right? I mean, they're probably right. After 10 doctors, they're probably right. But there's a tension there.
Yeah.
And it can't be resolved by technology. It's a human tension. What?
It would be 410, like the number of doctors that you have.
Well, I mean, the exact number is sitting arbitrary, right? Like it's so there is an inherent tension there that's not resolvable by technology or algorithms.
So what is the exact number?
It
I don't know.
depends on what
There is
state
no
you're
exact
in.
number.
It probably depends on what state you're in.
Yeah, no. I mean, there is in real objective truth, right? Based on the science we have now, there is no objective number. and I know you're like computer science people, it's a hard thing, but like, there is no exact number. It is sort of a judgment thing, but I will personally say, to me, 10 is, after you've talked to 10 doctors are probably right.
Oh man, yeah, think about like each doctor visits
Now-
200
now-
a pop, so,
Are
it's
3
like
versus
2 grand.
5 right?
That's why you could have something like Web3 is cool because you could have actually decentralized Oracle networks, right? Where you could take, like, let's say, your Internet of Things, like sensor data that is, not, like it's verified.
Well,
right?
that's the tension.
And you could cross-reference it, with these, different analyses from maybe 100 or 500.
Yeah, Apple.
That's
Speaking of healthcare, Apple is really pushing
The biggest thing though for healthcare.
Yeah, but now
is Web3.
Apple failed, and that's emblematic of the problem, right?
What do you mean
Because
Apple failed? In what way?
The problem, well, they pulled back.
They did.
They canceled their own line. And that's emblematic of the problem. The problem is healthcare is very complicated. We don't understand biology in the way we understand computer science, and we may not be able to. Biology may not be resolvable in the sense that computer science is resolvable, and that might be inherent may or may not be an unresolvable tension, because, right, if you, quantum mechanics, right?
There's no algorithm for a human.
Yeah, so potentially, right, quantum mechanics means that on the molecular,
Different hash.
the submolecular level, everything is random, but biology exists on top of that. So, if I try to parse it a computer science way, you have a random layer, and on top of that, you have a pseudo-deterministic layer.
Yes.
And that pseudo-deterministic layer reads from the random layer, and therefore, it may not be resolvable on a layer on top
But
of
if you
that.
want to get the kind of complexity that gives you at least better probabilistic outcome, you need a more complex system like a Web3 with, like literally hundreds or thousands of, independent,
But even that may not resolve it, because it may not be resolved.
No, all I'm saying is that
That's the
you'll never get to 100%, but you can get closer and closer. And I think personally, the only way to get there is with decentralization.
That's an empirical question, and we don't know the answer to it.
So I'll throw a wrench in here and just make everybody quick. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see Neuralink was successful in implanting their first computer controlling brain interface? I mean,
That's it. Apple Vision Pro's dead.
It was like weeks ago.
I'm sorry, what?
You mean like weeks ago?
Oh, it was weeks ago. It's big news, though. I mean, look, all of you guys remember. It's big news. Okay, so I feel like we should just open the floor. Everybody talk amongst themselves. Thank you for coming. Please come next month. Next month on Wednesday.
What was that storage thing you were showing? The dot storage, what was it, file?
I was showing that like a few months ago.
Well, no, like today, just now.
Oh,
Lighthouse storage.
Yeah.
Is that, does it charge you every time you upload for like that storage?
Does it charge you? I mean,
there's a free usage.
there's a free usage.
But I mean, assuming you're on free usage, like long-term sustainability,
Yeah.
like we're running at scale, can you replace the data and get to reuse that storage that you've already paid for, or is that immutable storage that you paid for?
No, it's probably, I would say,
Ultimately,
it's
it's
probably
mechanics.
I actually don't think so. I think you're going to delete those files.
Therefore,
and
I have
what
to
happens
create
is
the
it technically is
test.
immutable, but they're not
That is
really
the
going to
empirical
They're not actually deleted.
It's not actually deleted, but it's not really like a CDN. It's not really accessible. You know what I mean? And so they'll deprioritize it, and it'll be somewhere on some server or something, but you're never gonna find it because you get deleted, and then that's how you go.
Back in the round.
Wait, $100 per year.
What's the lifetime?
Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I figured like.
What's the lifetime?
The lifetime of,
And what are the street
like how much for a lifetime?
I don't know, that's lifetime there. I was just wondering what the difference in their prices.
How much is like what?
Okay.
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. I mean, if you look at
Yeah,
the
300 gig for the big one, 50, 10. Yeah,
What's
like,
Warren Buffett said, my favorite?
if you're doing anything in DevOps and you go over 300 gig, then you should probably have your own, you should probably be using your own service engine, but that's just my point.
Yeah, man, like anything that you can drop for free.
Yeah.
What is the unit for early? $5 for the night is dark and full of terrorists.
Good ceramic.
Oh, cool.
No, I was in a, when, I was like,
Autonomous boats
I was the first person to die for free hearing of this is
Autonomous boats.
sarcasm.
Autonomous boats for the Navy. You should talk to the satellite guy over here. Oh, I know what you see. Military.
If the boat sees you, it sees like a human. If the boat sees you and targets you, it's hard to run away from it. You have to basically outmaneuver it.
Yeah, but so why is it? Because it's just the software tracks really well?
Well, yeah. If it's within a certain distance, you can't really
It was
outmaneuver
some
it.
like fancy.
I mean, you can try to see underwater, and then they won't see
No,
you.
SIBO.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like, what is, I don't know.
6 foot is our smallest. It's pretty heavy. And then 13 foot is our next variant that we're working on, and then the next one is going to be 23 foot. Yeah, it's well, the 6 footer is about like this wide, and then like the 13 footer, I think the last time you
There was one last week.
I love how they're naming it after like existing cloud products, like file based.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's like really close to Shire getting on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you gotta do shit like that. You got to, yeah. That's a whole brand thing. Sometimes it's like, oh man, they're killing the little guy.
Wait, yeah, do you have your battery with you? You don't have a battery?
What kind of old technology are you using?
What?
What type of archaic technology are you using that runs out of battery? He must not use Mac.
No, I use Mac.
Oh, okay. So why you got a battery?
I've never You brought it? You brought it here? What? What is that? It is 100 amp hours of battery.
You have it in a backpack?
What?
You have it in your backpack?
Yeah.
Why?
It's so cool because if your buddy's phone's there, like mine right now,
Yeah. He's excited about it. He's like, bro, come on.
Although we have wall outlets here.
Did you know if you're climbing Mount Everest, you have to pay, like, to charge up your phone, it's like $150 because they have to load battery packs.
Why not solar?
just want to watch it.
There's 150 mile an hour wind. Your solar panel's gonna get covered with ice.
Bring a windmill.
That's the thing, yeah, you're dealing with zero voltage.
What's the more challenging on Everest?
This will turn your phone, right? this will try to refund.
They'll bring back.
Well, I know that, like,
Yeah,
it was a picture, I was only inside.
Yeah.
If you're even
Hopefully it's still
if you're even
recording.
past base camp, you're in the death zone. If you're past base camp, you're in the death zone. It's literally because like you can't even breathe at base camp. Like if you're like if I were to like I don't have very I'm not a mountain climber, right? But if I were to go if I were to go crazy and say I want to go on a trip to climb.
I mean, it's better than to die in cancer 6 months, but it's not.
Yeah, the thing is, if you were to do it, you could die going to base camp.
Yeah, and then you're not.
No, but like if you're like fighting death, just getting the base camp.
I think you're preserving.
Yes, you're probably find out, tell us. Say this is from beyond the that's not how that's somebody listen to Trump. And to be very close to us, if you drink all the shit out of your seats, you won't die still. They did say you won't get COVID if you drink all the shit under your seat. Which, to be fair, he's not wrong. He just didn't mention the science. People live in Montana. I just met someone who lives in Montana. And an hour ago, I met somebody who lives in I was at the temperature projection. Hey guys, what's there? If your person doesn't have a particular bias, it's magnified 10 times. It's like they're leaning bias. Things like that. But all you need is
If I got pulled over, what a member of the whole time. I'll pay for the ticket, I don't care. You're trying to get away.
But how do you know that's the Filecoin?
They had such all the events on that
So we're just like, now we're to play
because apparently if you like you can't be different. I thought I'd be like there's no gray zones, right? There's no gray zones or subtlety. You have to be one or the other. You have to pick your armband. And if you have the Bernie Sanders armband, you get the Elon armband because we get a turn too much you either have to be capitalist and not believe in the government at all, regardless of the role the government plays in setting markets, or you have to let the government take you over everything. There's no middle ground. No. You either have to support the government running everything, or you have to believe in capitalism without any restraints, regardless of the negative effects that it's having in human history. It's like a sports team. Which is stupid because I'm one of but also it's not a 1 to 0. Yes, you know, something. It's crazy. It's like you've got a uniform that is blue or it's red and there's no middle ground. It's like that makes no sense. I cannot.
one active, right? Everybody knows the data. You know what I mean?
I realize I don't like him as much as he is. I realize he's problematic. And it's like, you know, about with Peter Thiel. Like, how different do you think he actually is? No, it's terrifying. It's not like book written by and they were saying that the economy, right, the floor Trump under Obama, right, 2 days before Trump was elected, said the economy was good. 40% Republicans said it was good. 4 days later, after Trump was elected, 60% Republicans said it was good. 40% Democrats said it was good. I think they were like, look, it's economy. When they said, look, no GDP numbers have been released. No inflation numbers have been released. Nothing had changed officially from the government about how the economy is. Yeah, but just because it was really, and the government in the interim had released no new numbers about the economy. And it's like, how do you know what he thinks different? Well, because now it's Trump instead of Obama. Well, I mean, he was technically elected. Yeah, no, he's right. He hadn't technically sworn in office, right? And 2 years in Trump, right? 2 days into Trump's tenure, it's still fine. And it's like, I told you you were going to open it. That's crazy. You know what's crazy? This guy had like a $200 Chromebook, and he still hasn't fucking opened it. Because it's fucking useless.
I was
You're using $99 It's still a tablet. If you saw what I see in front of every morning, you would be like, it's still a tablet. No. It's still a tablet.
We set the standard.
Dude,
if you got a Chromebook, it's still a tablet.
No, I wouldn't. It
doesn't have such a thing.
Maybe.
I have every computer there is, and I have one that says a touchscreen, and I never use it. You know what I mean? Well, I never use It's making me want to do it, you know? I'm going to call it my buddy and be like, look, I got a guy. He showed up every day. And he made himself his laptop. I never
It's also
Mine is like every month, it's like 60 gigs.
Oh, that's perfect.
But it tells you how much is my monitor? How much is my monitor?
Just wondering if you have multiple ones.
I got
You plug multiple laptops. It's one laptop.
no laptop. I would do that. It's that's important.
That's funny. One big monitor.
Mine is monitor plus one it's like 25 something, 14. Yours is like the same. Yours is the extra people with monitor is like $100. Yeah. It has like a Thunderbolt 3 that's like
That's
Open source, even not even.
Max
Yeah,
PR, 30 hours
yeah,
per day.
You also
Like,
it's not hard to
look, his daughter, put that on the wall. How does that make you feel?
I won't tell you when I because of your attitude.
No, I guarantee you, no matter what it is, it's better than a $200 pro. I guarantee you. It's like a 7-year-old.
and it's probably like,
It's like I have Excel in 2007.
It's very efficient. Like the cheapest one they run actually. So the one that's $99 that I use right now, it has only 4 gigs, and then like.
It's because you get hired at a company and they're like, no, we don't want to send your laptop. So you're like, okay, I'll just get my own laptop. So you get the shittiest, slowest laptop. You're like, I'll do all my work on that laptop. That's what you want to do. I know you do.
I have a better story than this.
You only have.
Oh, yeah.
All of these different versions exist, closed source, all these
They have this expired all the progress of this.
eventually they're going to have access to all this stuff, so it doesn't really minimize how much work. Just with time, eventually.
And then, like, I would actually way rather, I would not learn on pockets and script there's no skill for it.
That's what YouTube does, that's what Facebook does. Unless maybe for you actually work on it.
But you're saying, actually, they paid like $50.
As confident as I was in Bitcoin when Bitcoin was coming out.
And my boss, he
And
like,
that worked out, $1 trillion market cap, nobody saw
oh,
that
yeah.
coming.
Oh, it is. Okay, so.
I mean, I was in a big splice, right? I'm that confident. I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer, right?
It's also not much.
Like you guys like this like a reason why they found that it was probably like some companies that was like that's not really
also again, there's so
working with people, especially in startups when you're working with like the
directly trying to populate
the head of the startup, being like a junior like I am, being younger than like way younger than them, I'll throw that lava at them. I'm like, look, like you need like simple stuff to like do shit, and they're like, yeah, you're older. That type of like sequencing is really easy. Whereas I've noticed like the younger you are, the more I just have to be like, you can tell when we're not. Because if I sit there and say, hey, fuck, like, we gotta have these, we gotta have a big file for all of the sub-employees.
It's not big enough. It's not big
It's a standard. Like, you gotta have an email. Come on, if you don't like, you know, and so it's like when you're younger and you're like telling these like older people, you're like, you need to have like all of these people need to have a laptop so you can test the property. And they're like, wait, what? And it's like, how would they have done that job? Like, how could they get that done?
And that's why
where they
say,
What do they expect?
There's
What
probably
do they expect?
I don't know what they're doing. Is there an RTX 3090 in it? No? Oh, well, they got a
That's why
problem.
that's why 90% startups fail.
I don't think you have to implement the algorithm. I think it's.
That's
You
why
know what,
if you run
you
new
know,
startups,
you know what, 90% of don't fail, okay? Law firms, medical, FX, law, lawyers, medical people, do not have 90% failure.
Why do you know what he did?
They do have like,
What doesn't have failure rates?
Because they don't want
If you're a doctor, you're a doctor, find a medical firm, or a lawyer, find a law firm, which by the way.
That's because you made it fucking out of medical school by that point.
No.
That weeded out
But if you look at the top 1%, the most successful business owners, most of them, the most common businesses, owned by members, the top 1% are for a medical firm.
Yeah, that makes
Why?
sense. Yeah, that causation versus still, causation, by the time you have a medical degree, you know how like,
That's like, you're not just growing like a book, you're just like a synonymous to actually get right.
Yeah, but most companies set
parking, I think we're good. Thank you so much.
if you wanna like keep your company and.
Most companies are tiny minority. Most companies get a slow growth.
Yeah, if you're starting a company, you know, like,
It depends on what you want. If you want a higher chance of success
You don't have to really.
and being a millionaire,
Like,
that's how you go. But if you want the tiny percentage chance of being a billionaire, you really need to start.
right.
So then you have a higher percentage.
You don't have to worry about the technical side.
Yeah, and you're trying to get 0.01%, but it's a millionaire. However, if you are a doctor or lawyer or even like a software certified person starting a software consultancy, you will have a chance of success of like 1 in 3. And you will be a 10 million, 20 million net worth, but not a billionaire.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's a
if
straight up.
you're a plumber, if you go into trade.
Yeah, plumber's another one. If you're a master plumber,
You'll have like.
no, I get that. A master, no, that's another one. Master plumber, a professional master plumber, starting their appointment business, also has a reasonably higher rate of success.
So I don't personally think.
But they don't have like a 6-figure salary or whatever, they have like.
Oh, master plumber.
They say 100%
A master, not a apprentice plumber.
Not even a master plumber, like.
No, if you're weekend jobs for right now in Austin, Texas, you're really there.
If you
set up a fence,
if
you're
you're
legit.
4 years in and you can run your own business with low overhead, you're 6 figures.
Yeah, a legit plumber or a legit electrician does make a lot of money.
My nephew was a master electrician, he's retired, and never.
Yeah, everyone should use it.
He's very well.
There's like, they can.
But that's fair, that is a high, no, that is a high skilled position with high return on investment.
It's like,
You know?
Yeah.
Education in and of itself should not be because if you are a master plumber, master electrician, those are high skilled positions. Yes, you don't need to do degree, but you know, it's a high practical skill. Well, yeah, but like they make money. Yeah, but they make way more money.
Yeah, I mean, he was running.
The lowest paid, like area in medicine is like 200. And if you're an anesthesiologist, you make some
I don't wanna worry about.
that's a whole different. They make like a
Especially like a big airline, right? Like,
yeah, but they put a lot of work in. And also,
on the hill.
Commercial airline pilots typically start with military. And like, if you start in the military, you deserve a certain amount of
Fly out, right?
yeah, but like, look, I'm for the civic republic, like, if you serve the country and everything, you deserve a certain amount of.
You shouldn't be on my default.
Better be careful.